If you've ever heard the story, or if you've seen the Tom Hanks movie about Apollo 13, you might remember that the crew almost didn't make it. What happened was that during a routine procedure, one of the spaceship's oxygen tanks actually blew up, and in order to make it back home safely, the crew had to power down almost all of the systems on the ship, like waste management systems, their guidance computer, even the ship's heating system, in order to preserve power and make it back to Earth. And they needed that power in order to safely re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. And I think this story about Apollo 13 is a good analogy for prioritizing your time. When you're really busy, maybe you're feeling overwhelmed, or maybe you have an important deadline getting closer and closer, it's useful to know kind of what systems in your business or in your work that you can shut down so that you can make time for what's most essential. I normally try and publish a blog post and a podcast on a weekly basis, but for the last month or so, I've actually failed to do this. Partly because we've had a few short weeks. Over the last few weeks, we've had some public holidays here in New Zealand, and so when the weeks are cut short, often the first thing I will sacrifice in order to make time for what's most important is the blog post, the podcast that I create, because when I think about the other ways that I could be spending my time, it's just not as important. I've prioritized making my normal screen sharing YouTube videos, I've prioritized client projects, meeting with new leads, closing deals, all of which have a much more direct contribution towards the revenue that my business generates. And when I'm prioritizing my time, I usually think about what's most important, and again, that's usually in terms of revenue for the business or the projects that we're working on, and what is urgent. But in order to make time for those things, it's good to know what are the non-essential things that you can let go. What are the things that you normally do that you can just put aside for a couple of weeks while you catch up, meet that deadline, or just work on more important things? In the case of Apollo 13, it was knowing precisely what systems they could shut down temporarily that allowed them to orbit the moon, return to Earth when they eventually did power the ship back up so that they could safely re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. And I encourage you to give this some thought. The next time you're busy or overwhelmed, think about what are those things that are non-essential? What can I let go of now and return to in a week or two so that I can prioritize and focus my time on what's most important and urgent today? If you have any questions or feedback following this video, please feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.